everyone, and welcome to the Canadian Formula One Grand Prix Fantasy Wrap for 2019, presented by Fox Blockhead. Yes, I'm your host for the Formula One Wrap from a fantasy perspective. That's right, the drivers, they can accrue points depending on how well they qualify, how well they race, where they finish, and all the rest. So these gold, silver, and bronze 1, 2, 3, they are not necessarily the actual finishes, although we do have Lewis Hamilton in controversial circumstances taking out the race, taking out the fantasy points for haul for Canada. Vettel taking second place again. At the time of recording this, Ferrari are still thinking that they might be able to fight the charge, fight the 5 seconds. They still might be able to creep up with a 10-second gap there, so we'll see how that all plays out. Bottas taking third, even though he didn't get third in the race, he still did better overall compared to Leclerc, who actually came third in the race. But that's just the way it goes. Fantasy points don't have to line up with the way that it goes in the race. Our top performing manufacturer for this race was Mercedes 65, only just though, Ferrari not too many points behind, and the reason Bottas is there, he got the +5 for the fastest lap. So there you have it, your top rider, drivers, constructors for Canada. This is how the results stood after Canada. As I said, Hamilton with 35, Vettel, Bottas, Leclerc with 27. If Bottas didn't get that fastest lap, would have been the other way around. Then Max, Daniel, Lance Stroll, roughly in the order that they finished, but of course you take into account the qualifying and how many positions they gain or lose. Whether or not they finish the race, whether they progress to third qualifying, all of that counts. So if you do well overall, you do well. And you'll notice I've highlighted Lance Stroll there. His value, 2.43 points per million. He had the best value of anyone in Canada. Well done, Lance Stroll. His 7 million price tag, making him the best value in the top 10, closely followed again by George Russell. Daniel Kvyat, even though he's in the second half over there, he's still got 1.53 points per million, still doing well, better than Hamilton in that regard. Constructor results, fantasy results for Canada, like I said, Ferrari just below Mercedes with 57 compared to 65. Red Bull Racing 39. Renault, finally they get a good result. Renault with 29 points, with the best value for this race, as it turns out. Closely followed by Racing Point, and then Mercedes with 2 points per million. Alright, let's have a look at the dream team. If this was your team in Canada, I believe you would have top scored. And you would have top scored with these scores, doubling Ricciardo's 20, making 182, and giving you a budget, or out of a budget, 98.4 million out of your 100 million budget. If you think you have a team, or that there is a team out there that could have scored better, let me know in the comments. 182 is your target, and Ferrari, actually the constructor, the first time Mercedes has been bumped from that constructor slot in the dream team. We also have Leclerc and Bottas both featuring, and Ricciardo for the first time. Good on you, Daniel Ricciardo, the Aussie. This is your dud team for Canada. If you'd had this team right here, unfortunately, doubling -13 for Albon, you would have got -13 points overall. You would have gone backwards, but you wouldn't have been using your budget, so you're probably not playing fantasy very well. Only half your budget gone there. Anyway, the bonus chance. If you remember, as we progress through the seasons, the drivers can get bonus points for doing well in 5 races in a row. As a team, where both drivers perform well for over 3 races, there's a bonus. So we're 7 races in is Canada, and the bonus chance was on Kvyat and Red Bull. This was the qualifying bonus, and so over 5 races for Kvyat, 3 for Red Bull. So Kvyat had 3 ticks, Azerbaijan, Spain and Monaco. Unfortunately didn't get the 4th tick in Canada, so we're not looking at him in France. That's a bit of a bummer for you, Kvyat, but that's okay. Red Bull with the 3, Spain, Monaco, and again, failing in Canada. Unlucky Red Bull, no bonus points for you from qualifying. But then let's move on to the race. We had Sainz, we had Red Bull both going for it. Again, 5 races. Sainz still only with a possibility for France points if he got it in Canada, which he did not. Sainz finished outside of the top 10, so unfortunately not up for a bonus chance in France. Red Bull though, Spain, Monaco and Canada, both drivers finishing in the top 10 in the race, gives them a bonus 10 on their score. So that goes on to Red Bull's score for Canada. Well done. The bonus chance for France, the 8th race of the season. Trying a different layout here. We have for qualifying Magnussen, Gasly and Ricciardo all up for a possible bonus when we get to Austria. They're currently on 3. After France, we'll know some more whether or not they're going to bonus for Austria. For the race, we have Gasly and Kvyat. Again, both of them have 3 check marks for the race. France is the possibility. So if Gasly gets up there qualifying in race, he'll be up for bonus in Austria. So forward planning just a little bit here for the 9th race of the season. Not to anything to get too concerned or excited about just yet. But Magnussen and Ricciardo both up there for that one. Kvyat possibly out there for the race. No teams up for a bonus in France, but that's okay. We'll have a look back at that after France to see if there's anything for the Austrian Grand Prix. Overall standings here, Hamilton still in the lead, 16 points over Bottas, then Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, Charles Leclerc. So we got 2 Mercedes, Red Bull and 2 Ferraris. Bottas clearly the value pick at the moment, and his value goes down by 0.1. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense to me. George Russell right up there, still right up there. Value of 6.9. His value is always got a green arrow, I think. Has been for a little while. Raikkonen coming back a little bit. Value not quite up there. Let's have a look at the second half here. And our best value pick in the second half is Albon with 5.82. His value went up, but I think after last race, it might just dip a little bit for France. I think people might move him on. Dan Ricciardo, 2 points. That's alright, he's coming up, he's doing well, is our Daniel Ricciardo. I say our because Australia, we claim him. Good on you, Danny. Constructor standings, we have Mercedes 369, well out in front of Ferrari, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, Racing Point, Toro Rosso, with Mercedes being the value pick. Right up the top there, Alfa Romeo and Toro Rosso, both with a value over 10. But who can compare with those points? Who can? Mercedes almost have to be your pick, everyone's pick for the team. Let's have a look here at the Fantasy Formula One League. Just a reminder, if you'd like to join the Blockheads Fantasy Formula One League, have a look, check in the comments, grab that code, go to formula1.com, sign up, register, all the rest, join the league. We've got Kevin, who joined a couple of weeks in, he's down the bottom. Salma back on top, 1 point. There's 1 point in at 966 to 965. Let's see how the weekend turned out. That is why Salma Mercedes is up on top, 178. Follow the signs in second with 146, and the Engine Blockheads with 141. They were the top 3 weekend scores, and that's how it all shuffled around. Season averages, we've got Mysterious Bright Mystery with 154 points per race, SDG 145 points per race, and the top Salma team with 138 points per race, and Engine Blockheads 137 points per race. So it's starting to even out now with the 6 of us, or 6 teams anyway. As we go through, Salma Mercedes, this is how Salma got their points this time around. Vettel, Ricciardo, Mercedes, 178. Good score for Canada. Mysterious Bright Mystery, Albon with minus 13. Different pick, and that could have been very different. Bottas, the value pick. Mercedes, the value pick. Max Verstappen, always doing well, always picking up points, beating his teammate which gets you points, beating your teammate. This was the engine Blockheads in Canada. That's what I got, 141. We've got Hamilton and Bottas both scoring for the engine Blockheads. And then for France, don't know if you noticed it, I made one change. Hamilton out, Vettel in. We'll see if the Ferrari power can do it for me, get me some points. But I also saved a bunch of coin so I can upgrade. I think it'll be Carlos Sainz for Ricciardo as we go through. We'll see how that happens. Follow the signs in Canada. I had Albon, unfortunately, but Kevin Magnussen did well, as well did Leclerc. Bottas, Mercedes with the team, 146 for follow the signs. And the change, did you notice? Did you see what it was? We're going Kvyat again, saving some money, so hopefully upgrading someone down the track. We'll see how we go. Follow the signs, thinking ahead, seeing how it all goes. And that's it for Canada. That's it for Canada. We're moving on. How much are we moving on? Are we still cut by that move, that Vettel move, non-move on Hamilton? It cost him 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Pushed him down to second in the race. Hamilton claims that he would have passed him. Oh, if there wasn't that penalty, I would have passed him. I would have gone for it. I need to win. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I think Vettel had him. Sure, he pushed him into a mistake, but I think Vettel had him. I really do. Vettel for a first win of the season for Ferrari. Someone other than the Mercedes. Anyway, we'll see what happens in France. France is actually, when this gets uploaded, less than a week away. June 21 to 23, with qualifying 3 p.m. on June 22nd. That's the Saturday. That's local time in France. And I think France are +2, if I remember, because the World Cup, the Women's FIFA World Cup's going on there at the moment. We like watching the sports in our family, so we've got the French Formula 1 coming up on the weekend. Got the Women's FIFA World Cup, supporting the Aussies all around. But I think that's everything. That's Canada. That's Canada wrapped. That's a wrap. Hopefully this one won't be the next one won't be too far away. The French Formula 1 Grand Prix on the weekend. We'll get the Formula 1 results. If there's nothing controversial, hey, the results can come out a whole lot quicker. If I don't have to wait for Ferrari to dispute the result, maybe Vettel comes up, maybe the points change. Hey, that changes my whole presentation. I think of the little guy. No, I kid. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a good week. Enjoy your French Formula 1 Grand Prix this weekend. And until next time, my name is Fox Blockhead. See you later, alligators.